Welcome to the May 2nd, 2024 Tiburon Design Review Board meeting. It's okay to start? Yeah. Okay. I guess we'll start off with a call to order and a roll call.
Board Member Malat,
Here.
Board Member Rosner,
Here.
Chair Kim,
Here.
and Board Member Chong is absent and Board Member Odoricio is not here at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Oral communications. So anybody here, either on the internet or in person, has an opportunity to address a subject not on the agenda. And at this time, you may do so. You have 3 minutes, and please state your name and your address. So we'll start from here and see if anybody from the audience have a matter that they like to discuss that's not on the agenda. Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the internet.
There are no oral communications from the Zoom audience.
Okay, thank you. Then next we'll go to the staff briefing. Just wondering if there's any briefing from the staff.
The only briefing that you should know is that the 114 Lyford has been appealed both by the applicant and by the neighbor. It'll be brought forth to the town council on May 15th. It's probably the only update I have for you. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And so if it's accepted by town council, then that's the decision. And if they don't accept it, what happens?
Well, they have a number of choices, so we would move forward with recommending adoption of a resolution that would support your decision. They can overturn the decision of the DRB. They have in the past been known to send it back to DRB for a decision. I'm not sure what they'll do. So we are going to
Okay.
give them a number of options
Okay.
and we'll see what they do.
Thank you.
Otherwise, I have nothing further. And
I just wanted to alert you that board member Dorcio is here right now, so please mark him here. At this time, we will be considering the minutes. Anybody like to make a motion about the minutes?
Motion to adopt the minutes from April 18th.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll take a voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the motion to adopt the minutes from April 18th, 2024 has been accepted with 4 ayes, and 0 opposition and 1 absent board member. Next, we'll move to the consent calendar. And so for this, this is a matter that we already approved. And so now it's formalizing the Southbridge Road East matter about the Coast Live Oak. We had decided as a board to approve the, no, what is it? It's a double negative. It's a motion
to grant the appeal.
to grant the appeal, denying against the director's decision to deny the removal. So in the end, it allows the applicant to remove the tree.
That's correct.
Sorry, that was very confusing. Should we do a roll call vote on this?
That's fine.
Okay.
Roll call. So
Oh, I want to make a motion, sorry.
you actually need to move to accept the
Yeah.
consent item.
Yeah.
You don't need to adopt the resolution.
Okay, we need to move to consent the consent calendar. All in favor, we'll just take a voice, folks, since this is a consent calendar item. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the consent calendar is adopted. And there are 4 ayes, none opposed, and 1 board member who's absent. Next, we'll move to the public hearings. First is PH 3 Heathcliff Drive. And so just.
Can you give us a moment to set this up?
Yep,
Thank
I'm
you.
just gonna go through the process. So typically the applicant has 5 to 20 minutes to present. Then the design review board has an opportunity to ask the staff or the applicant any questions. Then there's public testimony, and there's a max of 3 minutes per speaker. And then the applicant has an opportunity after the presentation or after the public testimony to speak for 5 minutes. And then the design review board closes the public testimony period and deliberates and votes. So,
Thank you.
and we're having still technical issues. Okay, it's very old. Takes a long time to heat up. The applicant could wait a couple of seconds. We're gonna put the clock up there so you know how much time you have as well.
You can just let me know when you want me to move to the next slide.
He's got the.
Oh, he's got the clicker? Perfect.
Yeah, I got it here.
Okay, and then get the clock up there for 20 minutes.
Before,
Awesome, okay.
no, 1 second is not working. I think you have to put in the slideshow mode on the presentation. It's working now.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's working. Perfect.
Okay,
All set. Ready? All right, good evening. My name is Ari Irfani. I'm applicant here. We have owner, Mr. Misaki here as well. We are presenting 3 Heathcliff is a brand new, is a vacant lot. And in the agenda, we're gonna do the quick introduction. Then we're gonna go through project data, show you the design and explain the project challenges and why we are asking for a couple of variants here. I have been in the construction business over 20 years. I'm licensed engineer. I have PhD in civil engineering, but also licensed contractor and real estate. And we are doing brand new houses, over 5 of those right now in Bay Area. As part of the team, we do have Adele. He has helping us with the architect set, and we do have owner, Mr. Misaki here, who has been also in the construction. He owns glass company, and definitely we can help. We can get a lots of help when we are doing the windows and doors procurement here. Let's move forward. So regarding the project data, I'm sure you have seen this this information. We do have lot size of 15,000 square foot. If we go to the slide, basically I think I cannot see the number, but we have 5,000 square foot less than the ordinance, which is 20,000 square foot. That's one of the challenges that we had, but I'll go through that later on. Zoning, it's R02, and we are pursuing single family house here. The project information, as you can see, is about 3,500 square foot of the house with 1,000 square foot of the ADU. It's 2-story. We have first floor, living room and kitchen, and then 3-bedroom on the second floor with the ADU that's gonna be on the basement. We'll go through the design later on. Site analysis. So we had a couple of challenges here. First, we have 5,000 square foot is smaller than what is allowed per zoning, which is R02. Lot coverage is 15%. And since our lot is 5,000 less than 20,000, we are a little bit over lot coverage. We'll discuss it, but just wanted to highlight it here before we get to the detail. The site has very small area as a pad of the building, and it's going to continue with the steep slope right after. So as you can see here, there is not much space to build. And the maximum lot coverage area for this one for 20,000 is 15%. I'm keep repeating that one since the table was not clear, that these are the challenges that we had. This is the neighbor study, basically the property on the left. That's the property on the left, as you can see, with the 30 feet high. The property on the right, and the property across the street. Sorry. So what we were aiming based on the client's requirement, based on the client appealing, we have 3 targets here in the design. We are looking for modern design. We are looking for something consistent with the neighborhood in terms of architectural element or material. And we are looking for something very sustainable and efficient system. So these are the 2 targets that we had during the design. So we walked through pretty much all the neighbors, walking distance, driving distance, all in Tiburon. We look at the houses that it is there as existing or it has been approved last 10 years in the city of Tiburon. What we look at all the, again, type of material and architectural element of that to combine all of those in our design. So these are the design that you will see as part of our design. Either is the cantilever windows material that we walk through and we highlighted in the neighbors. This additional slides through the neighbors. They're all, we do have address as needed. We can provide if you want to know where are this property. And then, so basically this is our design. These are the design element, architectural element and material that we pretty much try to use towards our design here. We talk about efficiency. We have some material that we can share with you about the windows that we have, and we are trying to have one of the most efficient building in the city of Tiburon. We are already started working with the Title 24 because we have the spec for the windows, and that's one of the highest target to have one of the highest efficient house in terms of energy in the city of Tiburon. So that's another goal. We can get to the detail when we have the spec. The material you have here, that we have a door, very similar to a couple of houses that we had. We had cedar, we have aluminum windows, more material, light. All of this, again, is super consistent with the neighborhood based on our 5 times sidewalk to the neighbor. We're going to get to the design. Checking on the time, we have 14 minutes, perfect. So these are different rendering of the design just to give you better visual understanding of what we are aiming for here. More, since we know the glass very well, so you're trying to use the natural light as much as possible, but also keeping the privacy. So we have the windows what's the terminology? That we can change the private, no private in terms of.
They use a lot, these days they use a lot of offices and then for privacies and all stuff, you can adjust the obscure dimension of that, and so they call it switch class. That's what we're trying to implement in the design as well.
Yeah. And so we go to the design. R02, I think we have 15 feet setback on the side. As you can see, we do have 35 feet here, over 20 feet on this side. The numbers are not super clear here, but we do have more than 20 feet on. The reason that we are wasting all of this space, we are trying to be consistent with the neighbor. You can see this is a driveway, but our house is pretty straight, we are not following the driveway. We are trying to, because if you go through the side, I'm sure you have seen the side, the neighbors on both sides is kind of along in this line. And we are trying to be consistent with both left and right neighbor. And we talk to them. I think we do have some comments supporting our design based on our discussion here. We have a little bit of the pad, and then building goes slow. We have the section and elevation that we can discuss. Another challenge, we have about 30 feet front setback here, right? That is we're gonna lose a little bit of the front space, flat area that we had as well. So these are the challenges that we had. Floor plan. And this is the ADU on the side. So entrance, kitchen, stairs going to the ADU, going to the upstairs to the bedrooms and the garage here. 3 bedrooms. That's a front elevation. Front elevation is 26 feet. The height limit is 36, but the front is 20. We were trying to not to go a lot more than 30 feet because of this slippery slope. That's why we have 26 feet. As you can see here, the building, we have about 42 if we consider bottom of the ADU all the way to the end. And we don't have that much lot coverage, so we couldn't do like other design that we have. We couldn't do step the house down because of the lot coverage. And we don't have much flat area on the front because of the front setback. And that was the best we could do. And that means since the height limit is 30 feet, we have 36 feet and 42 feet, a little bit more than height limit that we have. So this is the first variance request that we have. Again, if you drive here, 26 is going to be a lot less smaller than the neighbors, because from the street is actually a little bit higher, and 26 is not, it doesn't show any big building at all here. And we try to be as flexible as possible considering the height of the building. So if these are the some sectional that we have, and I want to highlight one more thing here. Just go through this and go back to the table. I don't know, Dina, why is not super clear the number, but I think you guys have the hard copy and we can look at the numbers. If you look at the slide number 2, there is a table on the right, and we do have a calculation for the lot coverage. Based on the calculation that we have, we do have lot coverage of 16%. Based on the code, for 20,000 square foot lots, we have 15%, but we have only 15,000 square foot lots. So we're just asking for 1% above that. That's as simple as that, because the lot is 5,000 less. So 2 variants here. One is 1% more than lot coverage, more than what we have, and the height limit, which is 36 to 42. That's all we got. I'm sorry about that. Keep blocking you.
Read anything off of that, probably TVs and what?
Oh, yeah. What's next, sir?
Okay, do you yield your time then? Do we have any questions to the applicant?
I have some questions.
Okay, I guess we should stop the clock, yeah.
Could we turn the lights up too?
Um,
Do I have your permission?
yeah.
This is one of the more unusual floor plans I've ever seen, with 3 master bedroom suites. Is it meant to be a rental? Is that how that works?
So the owner is here, but the owner grew up in Tibron. He lives in East Bay now, and he's planning to come back, and that's specifically designed for his need. He's not intending to be rental or something. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Can I add anything to it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Hello, hello, everyone. So, no, I went to, last year of high school, I went to Tamalpais, and I went to College of Brain. I grew up in here. I was a busboy when I was going to school at Milano Restaurant. So, I always want to be back in Tibron. It's just this town that I felt like I belonged to, and I grew up in. Unfortunately, my budget would never allow me. So now I'm at the point that I can do this, and I'm going the way, if you look at it, I'm a lot more involved than the usual owners throughout the glass and all this stuff, due to the fact that I do 90% of my works are public work and a public building and a glazing contractor that I am. So I have a lot more access to the, I can say that's the more commercial type that they have a higher grades, which is I can use on an efficiency of the building for this. And I can assure you, I'll be living in it.
Thank you. Are you familiar with the design guidelines for Tiburon? Did you look at them before you were designing? Did your architect?
We did. What's the question?
Well, typically, when you have a steep sloping lot, we try to step down the hillside, and this building doesn't do that. I'm just curious as to why you're asking for a variance when there are so many other options to,
We did lots of study. I tried to explain that we do have a lot coverage issue. Even with that limited space that we have, lot coverage is 15%. So if you can level it more, then we're gonna have more issue with the lot coverage.
you have lot coverage, you could ask for a variance there instead of a height limit variance. So you chose the height limit variance.
Yes, because building is still based on the discussion with the neighbor. It's only 26 feet from the street, and the neighbor was happier with that rather than going a step and ask for the lot coverage variance. As you confirm, in any case, we had to ask for the variance. And we tried to not to go, because if you drive, even if it's 26, the building is gonna look so small compared to the building that we have. And if we go ask for the variance on the lot coverage, the building is gonna show probably even smaller. We are not asking for huge height difference because of the steep slope. We are asking for 10 feet on the back. Still, we have 26 feet only on the street side, which is consistent with the neighbor based on our discussion, neighbor's request, basically.
And finally, the roof shows, your rendering shows growth on the roof. Is it a live roof? Is it having planting on the roof?
What's the question? The showing what? Oh, yes, we do have, so obviously we don't have the structure design yet. We are in the planning step, but the thought that we have is a couple of things. One is using the pedestal that we can do, showing like a tile versus turf. So we can have any type of roof, but we can have pedestal on that. But we didn't go any detail further. We have a couple of options in ideas here.
And then lastly, are you planning on trimming some of the redwood trees so that you have
No.
protected?
No, we don't do, and we discuss it with the neighbors. Those redwood tree, we believe we shouldn't trim the tree because of helping of the privacy with the neighbor on the side.
Those redwood trees will be double that size in another 50 years. And you're going to end up blocking views from people above you on the hill that look that way over you. I would advise you to think about some way of controlling the redwood trees at a certain height or maintaining them. That's all.
Thank you.
I have two quick questions. One is about the redwoods. What, are those on your property or the neighbor's property? It was hard to tell, and from the landscape design.
They're on the neighbor. They're on the neighbor.
The redwoods are on the neighbor.
Side, they're on the neighbor side.
Okay. And then I thought I read in the staff report regarding the roof, are you putting on a roof deck? I thought I read something that the roof would be accessible.
Yeah, no, I think you're talking about the ADU roof.
Oh,
That
okay.
we're gonna, not the
Not the main-
property.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. I do have a question for staff. Is the ADU roof going towards lot coverage because it's accessible from the main building?
50% of that.
Yeah, 50% of it. We did use that as part of that. Mhm.
So that is adding.
It has to be, yes.
Yes, 50% of that unfortunately got
Yes.
calculated.
You had to calculate that in because it's not part of the residence itself. It's the roof on top, so it's 50%.
Okay, and is that what's pushing over the lot coverage, or what percentage is that adding? Just get curious.
I don't know those numbers. Yeah,
What's that?
They're only over by.
the lot
Oh,
coverage,
yeah, I'm just asking, what of the deck is contributed?
But I'm saying, I don't need.
I am sure that the deck does have an impact on the numbers. But, 1% we were pushing him around a lot. We pushed him around a lot to get to the 1%, so.
Oh, I was in.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions to the applicant or staff? Okay, at this time, we'll open up the hearing to public testimony. And so if there's anyone from the audience who would like to speak, they have an opportunity to come to the mic. Sorry. And please state your name and address. Thank you. And
Hi,
if you could wait until we start the clock, great, thanks. Okay,
hi, my name is Ron Richards. I'm the homeowner at 5 Heathcliff next door to the property. I want to start by saying I fully support the design of the project. I think it's very thoughtful, given the constraints of the lot itself and the size and the thoughtfulness towards fitting in with the character of our neighborhood. We're the longest resident, other than the Troms on the street. We've been coming up on 23 years there now. And so we have a lot of experience in the neighborhood, and I think what they've designed fits extremely well. We would support them on the height variance rather than changing a lot coverage variance, because that's going to give us less privacy and give our neighbors less privacy. And the way they designed it, it won't stick out into looking into the back of our house. It fits right in line with our home, which I think is great. The Redwood Heights, yeah, they haven't grown quite as quickly as you might have thought, and those redwoods have been very, very important up there because we get extremely high wind, and they provide wind protection to our home. Our front windows are all hurricane rated windows. We get 40, 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds up there. Those redwoods were planted by the Troms and the original owner of our home in the late 60s, and they've been protecting that home since we've been there. So we're very happy that they're supportive of wanting to keep them. And we worked with some of the people on the property when they were first going there to cut some view lines through the branches to sort of help out, but still maintain the privacy. And so we worked hard together to come up with a solution, which I think was good. Our only concern, which I wrote in the email, because I haven't had a chance to talk to anyone else about this, and when I spoke to the town, they suggested at least putting in the email is, as the plan is currently contemplated, there's no equipment or things planned to be between the two homes along the property line, but our master bedroom abuts the property line of that property. And so the only thing I ask, and I would ask them, is I just want to maintain that privacy. I don't really want to have equipment or other noisy things right up against our bedroom, and I don't have any indication they would. And so that's, yeah, so that's how I feel about it.
Just add something.
Sure.
So we thought about it, and
sorry. That-
Respond, you'll be able to.
Respond, yeah, you'll be able to respond afterwards, so, yeah.
No problem. In general, I just want to say, we like the design, we're supportive of the design. It's just, we just want to be cognizant of the noise and privacy, and everything I've been told suggests that they are willing to consider those things. And all I'm asking is that we will agree that that is not going to be something in the future, so we can all enjoy our peace and privacy in our home. And we want them to be able to enjoy the peace and privacy in their home as well, and look forward to having them as our neighbors. So thank you very much, and I'll stop.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to make a comment at this time? Okay, seeing none, we will now move to the online platform and seeing if anybody on Zoom, maybe give it a couple of seconds to see if anybody on Zoom would like to make a comment.
There's no public comment from the Zoom audience.
Okay, thank you. At this time, the applicant has 5 minutes to respond, and so we'll just reset the clock.
thank you so much. I'm gonna go real fast. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that. We do actually knew about the master bedroom on that side, or master bedroom also in the same side. So definitely we are looking for more privacy, and there will be no equipment, no generation, nothing over there basically. That's all, yeah.
I'm gonna add into all the equipment. Oh, sorry.
Please state your
By the way,
name.
nice meeting you.
Sorry, please state your name too.
My
Yeah.
name is Ali Misagi. I'm the owner of the property. So the way we looked at it is, I'm gonna live in that property. So I want him to understand that I want to live somewhere that my neighbors are friends. I'm not bringing war to this neighborhood, right? So we will accommodate throughout the construction to make sure that actually the neighbors want us to be there. So this is my philosophy, and because of that, we'll make sure there's no equipment on that site, which is as a design, there's none. And we're making sure that your redwood trees are all the way it's supposed to be. If you have to trim them, let them down, all that stuff for the health of it. Other than that, definitely no noise, and we'll make sure there's a full privacy, absolutely.
You're done.
Okay. Okay. At this time, we will close the testimony to, the hearing to the public and deliberate amongst ourselves. So anyone want to take a stab at try to make any comments? Actually, staff, can you leave up the presentation? And could you turn the slide with the slope, the section on its side with the superimposition of the height limits? Yeah, thanks.
I need some lights. Could we have some light though, too?
You won't be able to see the screen if you have light, so it's your choice.
I can see this screen. Okay. I find this house to be unusual and one of the things that I'm concerned about is it has very high floor to ceiling heights on both levels. It's 30 feet high at the front of the house. And it's a box. It's a rectangular box. It has very little redeeming elements on it, some on the front, nothing on the back. Has 1,000 square feet of elevation on both sides, it looks like, that are enormous walls to be in one plane, one single plane. I don't see any real reason for exceeding the height limit. I think you should go back and redesign it to step down the hillside so that you have conform to the town's controls. And I think you need to reduce the overall height of the building dramatically. Just so that you can come closer to the height limit. I don't think I've seen a building come in with a 9 foot or whatever that height limit variance request is over the entire building on the back of it. So I just don't think it's necessary. And some of the things I do like about the building, I like the idea that you're contemplating a green roof, a growing roof. I think there's an office building style to this, which I don't mind. It just, contrary to what you said before, it doesn't fit in with the neighborhood particularly well. It's a very glass box looking on the front and back of the building. The materials are good. I think you need to recognize that you're at the very top of a hill, a ridge that extends down there, and you're extending beyond that quite dramatically. I think the house should be more carefully designed to blend in with the hillside, not just be another big house box up there. So that's it.
Okay. Anybody else?
One thing, I just want to clarify, what is the height of the house from the street? Because I thought I read.
26 feet only, 26 feet. Yeah.
The public meeting is closed, Ari, so I'm going to have to answer those questions. Sorry. It's okay. It's 26 from the street. It's actually 26, 8 inches from maximum height to finished grade.
Okay.
Excuse me, it depends on where you look at the house. That's the frontalmost piece, but if you look at the a little farther back, it's effectively 30 feet, although they're filling the ground below. So they're pushing it right up at the 30-foot height limit in the front. And it's the overall in the back of the house is closer to 40 feet.
I think I'm on the other side of Jim on this one. I actually, I don't see a box. I actually love the variation of I think the materials, and I think the variation of the eaves and the different kind of accents give it some depth and isn't like a singular one dimension rectangle. I think the design of the house from the street looks beautiful, to be honest. I think the color palette, just everything in the materials, I think are really beautiful. I think we always have this discussion around dig down and push it down the hill versus not. And I just in this situation, there's nothing below that's looking up at the back at that, at the 42 feet. So, and it's not impacting views. So I would struggle to recommend a redesign that's just going to cost so much more to dig into the hill and then start pushing it out. And then you have the neighbor doesn't want that, and then we might have a privacy issue. So there is a question about they are luxurious heights and in the top, 13, I think it was a 13-foot second level. I mean, if this was an area where it's like, hey, we've had these, these reviews on people are proposing 13 feet, and it's like, nah, bring it down to 11-foot bedrooms because that saves someone's view. We obviously push for more, I wouldn't even say modest height. I mean, a 13-foot bedroom is obviously a high bedroom, but again, there's no impact here, I think, on the view perspective. So, I mean, if we really think that pushing it down a foot or two, I don't know who that's going to impact, whose view that's going to impact, since there's no one really downhill. So that's kind of my perspective on that point. I think from the lot coverage variance, as I was asking about the deck, because it's you're making use in this situation, you have the roof of an ADU and you're making a use of it. And it's impacting no one. So that is adding kind of lot coverage to an already constrained property. So it may not be the whole 1.5% extra, but it's definitely adding it. So I think that we can kind of discount that to some degree. And so I think there's obviously a couple I think findings we can make for the lot coverage variance, given the lot size in relation to the neighborhood, the steepness, the fact that they're still under the FAR. And I think there's some things that can make the finding for that. So I'm definitely open to, potential conditions or discussions around if there's some smaller improvements, but I think I'm generally in favor of the direction of the project.
Okay. Jim, would you like to talk?
Also, overall, in favor of the design. I was pleased that there was such neighborhood support. I have to admit, I was trying to understand the height of this building in proportion to the rest of the neighborhood. I don't see that it's, again, obstructive to anyone's view, and it does seem to be in relationship to the rest of the neighborhood. It's very hard for me to understand the backside view since you can't really obtain that. But I don't see it as a problem to a neighborhood. So I guess I overall did not see any dramatic changes that needed to be made.
Okay, I think I can make the findings. But for both of the variances, but and it's an unusual site because I think it's kind of on the views are both ways. You want it, that's why they're having the second levels, because they want to see the Golden Gate Bridge and they want to see the city. That's why you're doing that. And you want to also see in the back. I do think the plate height's really high. It's massive. I mean, it's just that first height, the first floor is massive. If you look at the scale of the door here, it's pretty massive. I think I can make the findings, but I think I would like to bring it down just because we're asking for a 9-foot variance on the height. Let's see if we can get somewhere in between. Yeah.
Yeah, something that I would add to that I was noticing, which I think kind of supports lowering it, a few feet. If something happens to those redwoods or they're trimmed, the difference in height, I do think the neighbor at 5, the house, because of the slope of the street, the new house will loom over that house, and I think that could create some issues. So even just having it, what are you thinking? I mean, 13 feet, ceilings are.
I know, but the floor to floor height, it's about 15, so that's pretty massive.
What did you have in mind?
I was thinking about bringing down 3 feet, the entire building.
Entire building, 3 feet?
Yeah. 3 to 4 feet. I think there's room there. I mean, that brings the variance down to like something more modest, like 4 or 5 feet rather than 9 feet. It's just massive. I've never seen in my tenure here, I've never seen a 9-foot variance on height for the entire building. Usually it's like for a tiny little corner, but this is pretty much for the entire. I mean, obviously it's a changing variance. I mean, it's a changing ask, but 9 feet it's pretty massive. And you're right, it's on one side, there's a massive building because it's higher and it's taller, and then the building next door it's much more modest and it's also lower. So this would stand up and stand out. So I don't know if folks would agree, but I think pushing down the building and how they do that would, it's their choice, but like, I think it splits the middle. It splits the difference. So
I'd be supportive of that. I think I'm just looking at the math. I wouldn't want to push it down such that you're creating an issue with that first level, because it seems it's on the flat. You wouldn't want to have a step down or something like to achieve like a reasonable ceiling height. So
they can deal with how they want to push it down, but I think it seems like a big ask for a 9-foot variance, and it makes the backside. If you look at the back elevation,
Yeah.
I mean, the hillside guidelines were done so that the back elevation wouldn't look so high. So let's see, which page is that? Sorry, my cursor. Let's see. So you look at sheet A3.4. I mean, that's what you want to avoid, is you want to make that a little bit more modest.
Yeah.
It's a giant billboard on the
Yeah.
backside. It's enormous. You'll
It's
see that-
enormous.
You'll see that from Richmond.
Jim, what do you think about 4 feet lower? Would you
I-
swing your mind or you're
I,
still?
I still wouldn't vote for it, but I do think it's a good idea. I think that's just one of the things that I would be concerned about. I mean, I understand that fenestration is your thing. And you've got glass everywhere. But imagine standing in your bedroom in the morning, waking up and the windows are open to the floor to ceiling. And there are people walking along the street or whatever. I think you ought to look at the fenestration as a little more carefully than to provide privacy for your own house, not to mention the neighbors. But I'm just concerned that the house doesn't approach a sensitive relationship to the site. And that includes the adjacent residences.
Sorry, say that one more time.
That includes the adjacent residences.
Before that, I missed what you said before that.
The house doesn't respond to the site. It's just plunked down as though it could be put into any site in the world.
I have articulated, and use the design guidelines to talk about stepping down, but this is a weird site where it's kind of on the top of the hill. Like it's kind of,
I agree with that.
you want to have both views, and that's why I'm willing to make a concession here, but I do think it's massive. I don't know. I'm just looking at the doors and I'm just like, wow, that's massive. So
But does lowering it 4 feet do it for you or?
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
and that's the number.
Yeah, I think there's room to play, and it'll still be grand feeling.
Yeah.
It'll still feel exuberant and but it's asking for less on the variance, so
And again, you're asking 4 feet you're asking 4 feet on the entire height and
Yeah.
let them decide
Yeah.
where they
yeah,
juggle that.
yeah.
So just so I can be clear as staff, is that from the front as well? Or you're just talking about how's it stepping down the hill that you're wanting that reduction?
So I'm not talking about the top of it says the parapet wall, so that looks like some kind of a fire,
Mhm,
some kind of fire feature,
mhm.
that rock wall.
Right.
Talking about top of the roof. So bring that down. So right now it says the top of I think this is misleading. It says top of the roof, building height is at 26.6.
26.8, yeah,
It says 26.8.
26.8
yeah.
Oh,
on A41.
841. There's so many different, I'm seeing the top of the first floor plate is at 6 inches above grade. The garage level is at 0.0, and it says the roof building height is at 26.6. However, you can see that it's a little bit higher than that, so I don't see 26.8.
What page are you looking at?
I am looking at sheet A31
3.3 also.
and A.3.2. So I'm saying that the first floor, if we're using that as a datum, which is 6 inches above.
It's an 8. It's not 6 inch. It's 26-8 inches.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh. 26.8, 26.8.
So you have 14 to the second floor.
Do I have the wrong
Well-
set of drawings?
18.8.
No, you don't.
Really?
I only sent out one set,
Oh.
so.
Yeah, mine says 26.6 and
Yeah.
the datum is underneath
Wow.
the roof. It's the soffit.
This sheet.
I am so confused.
Wait, let's just get you unconfused.
Yeah,
What-
so the datum that we're using, what is the what is 0.0 at? What is the elevation for 0.0? If we look
Operating
at the survey, what is 0.0?
page.
Let me take a look. Yeah, I think I have a different drawing set, right?
Yes.
That is so bizarre. Yeah, mine's different. Right? Mine's different.
That the same as that? I want to make sure that those are the same.
So,
Did you say 26
but it-
Okay.
I'll say 26.
yeah, I got mine from the internet, so. Yeah, and the datum is underneath the soffit, so it's even more confusing. See, look at this. See, it's at the soffit, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just really bizarre. But my question is there a drawing, Dina, is there a drawing that establishes what 0, 0 is? What is 0, 0? What's the elevation at? Just so that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, this is so what they're showing you do you have the new set now with the right ones?
Here's mine.
Yeah, I
So
do. So my question to you, Dina, is when you do a spot elevation that marks what the 0, 0 datum.
Based on an elevation,
Where is that on this chart?
Yeah, but where,
It is showing 0, 0 on the street. And that's 8.
Yeah.
yeah, but my question is what 0, 0 is in terms of elevation on the survey. So that we're all on the same page, because I don't want the situation like Cecilia, where there was confusion what 0, 0 was. Sorry. Is there a drawing that has the,
Survey.
the, what do you call it? Where you put the flags?
The story poles.
The story poles, yes. So we know that that is the 0, 0.
Can we get into an Astron here? I want the story pole plan. Let me go run and get that.
Because it's unclear whether that's 222.0 or 222.1 and 80.84. I don't know what 0, 0 is, sorry. Sorry, this is sounds very esoteric, but I don't want to get into the same issue.
Could you also discuss, you keep talking about this 4 feet. Are you talking about bringing that off of the 26 feet, 8 inches in the
Yes.
front or the 42 feet in the back?
No, I'm talking about the top of the building here at the street right here. I'm bringing that whole building. So the roof height comes down, the top of the roof comes down 4 feet.
And.
And if you look at this
Right,
elevation.
and-
there's
Right,
some
and
right
because you think this looks too massive from the street level, is that what bothers you? Or is it?
That,
It's the
more-
back.
More the back?
It's the back.
Then why don't you ask them to take the 4 feet off the back?
the whole
But it's the same 4 feet.
same roof. This.
Well.
It's the same roof.
It's one roof.
Yes,
all the way across.
yes and no, I guess it depends also back here, if this is,
So right here is the elevation.
Right.
That's dictated. So if you take this whole thing down, then only a portion of it is, out of, they're asking variance for a portion of the building rather than pretty much the entire length right now, the entire width. And it'll also help this back elevation feeling like an entire wall. So that's. Sorry. I don't know how I got a different set. So what's posted on the Design Tiburon, the Design Review Board website is different.
by 6 inches?
A lot, a massive amount, because the datum was at the soffit and not at the top of the roof.
It's about 2 feet, foot and a half.
Foot and a
Yeah,
half, then?
yeah.
Okay.
lower if they.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't.
Are we waiting for Dina to get
We're
that?
waiting for Dina to get the thing. During this time, we don't allow for the public to speak. Sorry.
So Chair Kim, it's up to you. You can choose to open public comment. Again, of course, if you do that for one item, you have to do it for every other item, but
Yeah.
there are no other items.
Yeah.
So it's your discretion if you want to reopen public comment.
Let's
up
see
to
what
you.
Dina comes back with. If she is unable to provide us that information, we will ask the applicant what 00 is. Sorry.
Computer was off, so
Oh.
wait for the thing to wake up. If you need it bigger, I can do that too. I was just trying to get your.
I cannot see that. No. I'm gonna use my phone and try to see what that spot elevation is at. Can you see it? Can either of you see the spot elevation on this?
If you can't, I can do it later. I just wanted it to get out. I gotta.
We're just, see, what you're seeing is it's like 200 and something, the elevation from sea level, it should say 200 and something feet.
We're gonna go get a larger one for you. Just a second.
Okay, that's, I've just aged myself.
And I'll just add that for the record, this will be made available to the public, whatever we're looking at here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I didn't see some of these drawings. So it says elevation,
It says 26 feet 8 inches. Flagpole SP number 2.
and then there should be a legend that says what SP2, what establishes a 0 datum.
They're showing consistently a line that goes out to Heathcliff Drive, but there's no curb, there's no slope. There's gotta be drainage, there's gotta be a curb.
Yeah, I can't see it.
More information there. It would be helpful too if we had on all site plans the adjacent residences so that we could see where they are relative to this building. They got it on one side, but it's not on the other.
I think staff, going forward, it'd be great to understand, if people put it on their drawings, if they put a marker, ask them to put in like the elevation, what 00 is going forward, because so, Chris is gonna go,
Chris is gonna go make it larger.
but there's no indication of the elevation on that story pole drawing.
What you see is what I have.
Okay, there's nothing on there.
Yes, what do you wanna, because you wanna bring it down 4 feet and you wanna specify a specific elevation of what we bring it down like we've done.
Yeah, because I don't want to be like, well, now the 0 has moved to 223, so we've actually moved it up, so it's higher, and then.
So my suggestion, I don't know if you want to do this. I did speak to someone in the audience as well that didn't speak before that wanted to have a chance. If you want to open the public hearing, have a discussion with the applicant as to what they can help you with
Okay,
or where we can go with that, that would be perfectly fine. It's the only item on the agenda.
okay, that
It
sounds
appears
good.
like a fair thing
Let's-
to do.
Let's do that, and we're gonna have to allow the public to make testimony as well. Could you tell us what 00 is?
Thank you, on the street. So I think someone wants to talk, but I'm just gonna clarify. When we are talking about the two neighbors, they're 30 feet height. And what do you mean when I say 35 on the 30 feet height on the neighbor, can I ask you what's the meaning of that? 35 height from where? So that's exactly, we are comparing the height of the building. So when I said neighbors is 30-foot height, what does that mean? That means from the street side, when you look, is 35 feet. There is only 2% slope on.
Yeah,
Just trying to clarify, there is only on the street, there is no big slope when you drive, so it's all the all the front area is flat. 26, I'm getting back to your question, when we are talking about 26 foot 8 inches, we are talking about the height that you see from the street. Both neighbors, when you go, they're 30 feet. So if we go even lower, we already had the design that you say is massive design. That's the previous design and for some reason you were looking at the previous design that was 3 feet higher. After we had the discussion with the planning, we reduced the whole building another 2 or 3 feet lower. The reason for that is we discussed it with the neighbor, and both sides of this building is 30 feet high. So imagine we are going to high, we're going down again to, right now it's only 26 feet. If we go another 24 feet low, it's going to be 22 feet. 30 feet to 20 feet, 22 feet, and again go back to 30 feet. So we are trying to talk to the neighbor to be consistent when we are going to the street. We reduced that already one time.
okay, I'm not here to make a debate. I just wanted to know, I opened it up just to understand where you're placing 0, 0
Thank
at,
you.
what's
Yeah,
the
just-
elevation?
Let's
Yep.
clarify that. Thanks.
So what is the elevation at 0, 0? What are you using as a spot elevation to strike the datum for that?
So I think the question is not clear. 0, 0, if there are the monument on the street based on the survey, and the height 26 feet from the street. So if you're referring to 0, the monuments are there. I think the main question is from the street, what's the building height? We are not talking about elevation. We are
No,
talking about the-
I'm asking you a very specific question. I apologize. Where are you striking 0, 0 at? What is the elevation above sea level? That's a very simple question. That's all I need to know.
It is on the survey map. If you can look at that, probably the survey showing all the elevations.
So it's, I mean,
Page
Page
2.
2.
Page 2, there are the survey map.
I looked at the survey, topo survey. So obviously I don't have the right set, but
Why don't I get you?
it's,
there should be
there's a
the right-
civil, should be a civil drawing where they did a topo map, but they should,
On the second one would be there. The second page, I believe, has the survey map.
but what is 0, 0 for the building? Where are they striking that? It's a very simple question. Are we, do you understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
Um,
I'm sorry. Thank you. I just need that back. Okay. I don't know what 0, 0 is. Can you tell me what 0, 0 is? Is it 222 feet above sea level? Is it 221 above sea level? Is it 220?
Thank you. I understand the question.
Yeah.
So the street is 0, 0, and if I'm gonna look at the number right now, is like on the street, based on what I see, is 22288. They're all 222 from sea level. So that's a 0 on, or basically the height.
22288. And so
22288.
that's how they certified the flag poles,
Yes.
story poles.
22 from 222.
222 feet, 88.88 above. That's 0, 0.
Yes,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
And then the floor is another 6 inches. So my contention, okay, we have to open up to public. The public actually has an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. So if there's anybody from the public who'd like to speak. Yes, please state your name and your address. Thank you.
My name is Mira Ebaid. My address is 1 High Meadow Lane.
Uh-huh.
And so I am probably the only home that looks up at the back of the house.
Mhm.
And while I am completely in favor and love the design and love everything, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to look up at, like how high will it be and how will it kind of affect what I look at when I look out my backyard. And so just simple as that.
Okay, thank you.
What was the address?
One high.
One High Meadow Lane.
High Meadow?
Yes. High Meadow, two separate words.
The other side.
I'm directly underneath. So I
Okay.
look up at the back of the house,
Got
which
it.
is the higher part of the
Okay,
house.
thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Great. Is there anybody from the internet who'd like to make a public comment?
No public comments from Zoom.
Okay. At this point, then we will close it off to the public and resume our deliberations.
Meadowland.
Before you kind of close the public hearing, I'm trying to ask the attorney as to whether or not the property owners get to open up and. rebut
That's
as
true.
well.
Okay,
Thank you.
yes. Sorry about that.
What's the question? Sorry.
So you have a chance to rebut any of the public comment that may have come up in this second.
Or respond in any
respond
way.
to-
Yeah.
to
They
the-
want to respond.
If you'd like to.
So the story poles are up, as I mentioned, and if you look at the back of the house, actually the way, you're not gonna see like a prison, sheer concrete wall going all the way up to 40 foot. And that height that we just talked about, if you're concerned about that height, if you look at through from the street elevation on the Heathcliff Drive, you will actually see that we're this elevation where the story poles are, we're lower than the house on the left. And we're right at the level of the house on the right. So we're at that level. On the back, actually, you're not gonna see a sheer concrete wall going up. Actually, it breaks up to the steps. So I just want to let you know. And by the way, I will be more than happy if you guys want to be there and take a look at it together. We can do that as well.
Thank you.
At this point, we'll close it off to the public and sorry about that. But anybody like to make a comment?
No, I guess I will say something. You have a home from the street that again is not massive compared to the houses next to it. They have given up, I guess, earlier on design review. It's not like 3 feet on height. It is impossible for me to visualize the back of the house, but no one's complaining about that or any obstruction of view. In fact, they're complimenting the design. And when I look at the rendering of the front of the house, it actually is quite complimentary to the surrounding homes. I guess I'm just saying I don't have a problem with the current height of the home. And I haven't been persuaded that I should push to lower that home from what I see and what's been presented, and especially from the neighbors' comments, that sounds very supportive.
Okay. Do you have any comment?
I'm in a similar boat, but I think, we need to get 3 members to vote for this. So ultimately, it sounds like Suzanne is okay generally, but needs it a little bit lower, and I think we need to find out what that is.
I feel uncomfortable. It's not just giving a 9-foot variance, to a portion of the building. It's a huge portion of the building. And the back elevation, this is something that is counter to the design guidelines. The design guidelines wanted to avoid having a massive back elevation, right? That was the whole point of it. It's to break it up, have it sort of meet contour with the slope, right? So that's why the guidelines say, break up the building into pieces so that you can sort of step down. And given that it is an unusual site, I'm willing to give a variance. I could make that finding. I just think 9 feet is excessive. And if you look at the sections, it's a massive first floor
I'm
and it's a massive second floor too. and it seems maybe perhaps in this picture, this front elevation, it doesn't seem that massive, but if you look at the interior elevations, I mean, look at the height of the door here.
Yeah, I'm not.
I think there's room. I think there's room. And I think there's room that it could still have a grand entrance. And on the back, it doesn't look like a big flat plane that's massive. Because that's what we wanted to avoid with the design guidelines. It's something that just is, huge in the back. So
And you're landing at 4 feet.
I think there's room for 4 feet, but I mean, given the elevations of the interiors.
Well, I can see the way the cookie is crumbling here, so I'd go for 4 feet too and say, short of getting a Pyrrhic loss, I would vote for it with a 4 feet reduction in overall height. And let the applicant work out the details on where that height goes. In other words, they can work on 2 stories or all 3 stories.
But it's.
By the way, the building to the east, adjacent residence, is actually a single-story building with a hip roof on it that actually has a dormer window up there. So
Yeah.
it's got a second story, but it's camouflaged to look like a single story. It's not nearly as big as this building, not even close.
Yeah, I agree.
But Jim, the 4 feet has to come off of the 2 floors that you see.
No, it doesn't. You could carve the lot and set the first story down a foot or 2 also. We've done that before.
I mean, the first floor, the finished floor is 6 inches above, so
It's half foot already.
there's
I
many
just- I
ways
mean,
to
I
skin the
thought I
ate.
asked you where you wanted those 4 feet.
I don't
Move
think
from
it's,
it, It was
I don't
the
think it's,
front measurement, not the whole house.
No, the 4 feet can come anywhere, but as long as we consistently say right now, the building's right now at 26.8 above 222 feet, 222 feet, 88 inches above sea level. I'm just saying add 22.88 plus 26 feet, 8 inches, and then take 4 feet off, whatever that number is. That's the height. Does that make sense, Dina? Zero is at, what they're saying, 0 is 222 feet. 0.88, okay? The top of the roof right now, so if you add,
The roof at the front of the building or,
no, it doesn't matter if it's a front or not.
okay,
The top of the building is, I can't do the math, 222.88 plus 24 and 2/3, right?
24/6.
Yeah, it's 24.8, so 8 is
So the
two,
roof height then is 246 point, or 247.4.
do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah, so you.
So we're saying that if the top of the building is there, then we bring it down.
Now, if you take 4 feet off of that, it's 243.
Okay.
222.88
Plus 26,
plus 24.8.
26.8, 26 feet, 8
20
inches, which is
26.8.
2/3.
That's 249 then. 249.4. And if you reduce
say
that
fix it.
by 4 feet, you're down to 765,
You're down to
245.
245.6. But,
He's using his calculator now.
Yeah.
but again, I don't see, that has to come off of those first 2 floors.
So, but the floor doesn't have to be even with the street. You've got 25 feet in there. You're gonna have to put drainage in, you're gonna have to put all kinds of other stuff in. If they want to keep it, that floor at that height, they can.
Can you talk into your mic? So
They
I
want
can,
to keep it that high, they can lower the ceilings, but if they don't want to, if they want to keep higher ceilings for some reason, they can push the floor down.
So what we're saying
By the way,
is,
there's a misnomer here, a misconception. Digging a house into the hillside is not necessarily more expensive than building it up from the side. It depends a lot on a whole bunch of variables, but it generally is about the same. It's not more expensive.
so here's the variance right here. Oh shoot, this is the public version. I can't mark it up. This right here, this, yeah. So this is 9 feet. They're asking for a 9-foot variance. So I'm just saying, well, we're not gonna give that to you. We're gonna say that. Thank you. Thank you. They're asking for this 9-foot variance up from here to here. And all I'm saying is that we're gonna give them a 5-foot variance and they'll have to work with that. They can go like this.
Now, again, I just don't see the impact or value of what that achieves.
It has a substantial impact on the street elevation. It'll lower it considerably.
So that means that the height of the building is gonna be here. That's what it's gonna do. So this height gets smaller and this
Well,
height
you
gets
know, I
smaller.
understand that. I don't understand why that is,
Important.
why you think that's a better view from the street, a home that is 4 feet smaller when it.
I
is.
never argued it was from the street. It's from the back elevation.
Mhm.
And the hillside guidelines, if we kept to the hillside guidelines, this building would have been built with, you know, keeping this and keeping this datum here, it would have kept it in this thing. So I'm giving them an opportunity to go up. It's just, you know, the results of this, I'm not talking about the front elevation. Even look at this. There's room here, but if you look at this back elevation, what this does is compress this just a little bit.
I don't think anyone, it sounds like the closest. I wish I could have asked the public comment a question. It sounds like the only home that is downslope that is in somewhat distance of it. I don't know if they can see it. 'Cause it's all-
So we're not guided by what neighbors see or do. That's not what what should be the most ruling thing. The first thing that we should be thinking about is design guidelines, because we are tasked to look at projects in the context of design guidelines. It's not, we're not tasked to say, I'm talking about the first thing. The first thing is never to say, let's look at the neighbors. No, the first, what is regulated in, and what we are guided by according to the municipal code is we have to look at the design guidelines and see if,
Guideline.
and this is a variance. And this is a variance. This is not like, you know, an arbitrary thing where they're asking for 2 variances here. So that's why. And we can't just, again, we can't just kind of arbitrarily do things, but if,
What is the actual height there? They're asking because I'm not seeing 9 feet anywhere. I'm seeing there's a 12.5 foot from, but that's starting at the ADU.
it's right here. So this line right here, this green line, anything above that green line, that is a 9-foot. That's where the 9-foot came in.
So 30 is permitted there, Board Member Rosen, and they're asking for 42. There's a height variance of 42 feet where 30 is permitted.
So it's actually 12 feet back
Oh,
there.
12-foot height limit, a 12-foot variance. I just think the house is too big, honestly. I find it overwhelming up for the street facade as well as the back.
Here's, okay, we're not gonna all agree on things. Here's where I stand. I'm happy to pass it. I can make the findings of the variance. Now that I'm hearing that it's a 12-foot change, that is massive. In all the time that I've been here, when somebody asks for a variance for height, it's always for a little corner. It's not for an entire floor. This entire floor, except for this part, is they're asking for a variance for that entire portion. So I'm saying, I don't think I can go up that high, but I can go up that high. And if we make that a condition, I'm willing to support this going forward. That's the only condition.
And just so I understand, so you're saying
Yeah.
not a 12-foot variance, you would accept a 9-foot variance, or what was your final number?
No, it's not that 9-foot variance. I am saying that the top of the roof cannot be higher than whatever 222.88 plus 26.6666, whatever that is. Subtract 4, that's the maximum
minus
height.
4.
That's the maximum height at the top of the roof. That's where I stand right now, but you don't have to agree, but that would get me over to passing this. It's not gonna pass. But since there's 4 people here, you need to have 3 to pass. So and I think there's room here. I do, because if you look at these elevations, yeah.
Can I step a question?
Yeah.
If we approve with a condition, the applicant has an ability to.
Yes.
Yeah.
appeal-
To the town council.
Yep, they have appeal
Absolutely.
ability, yep.
Absolutely.
They can appeal the, yeah,
They
sorry,
can
Yeah.
appeal the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
decision or the condition within 10 days.
yep.
They bring it back, and they ask to come back to the board.
Yes, they can. Yeah, they've done that before.
Okay, all right.
They usually defer to the design review board.
Oh, no, I'm saying can the applicant ask to
Where's the?
come back to the board and present,
Yes, we can ask him to come back.
no. Basically, I wanna ask the applicant if they prefer an approval with a 4-foot condition, or we continue it and then come back with something now that they've heard the feedback. But I don't have the ability to ask them that question.
We could, no, it doesn't matter what the applicant wants. We have to decide as a board what we want. I'm serious. That's not how it works. We don't ask for permission for the applicant. We have to decide amongst ourselves. So if you want to make a motion saying you want to continue it and see what the applicant can bring back. And then decide and see if there's any changes, and if you like it, then we've done that many, many times. I'd say majority of the applications we see, we ask to continue. We have an issue, come back, let's see a design. And our preference, 2 of you don't want it, 2 of us want to see it reduced. Because that's massive. These are massive. And it's not, it's the back elevation. And giving this, here's where I stand. Giving this to this application opens up the door for me for a lot of applications. Saying, well, they got an entire floor. Why can't we have a floor? A variance. I've never seen as big of a variance on a slope before. The only place where I've seen it was a little place, like, it's just like a little corner that was out of conformance, or if it was a lot where it was basically like this. You know what I mean? Like, it was like this. Yeah, it's a cliff. And that's the only 2 conditions, and I don't see this analogous to those. So that's why I feel strongly that this could set a precedent. And it's going against the design guidelines. It really is. I mean, the design guidelines are clear that you follow the contours of the slope, so. But if you don't feel like, you can,
Yeah,
then,
I guess if you're comfortable with a 4-foot reduction. I would
Do you want to ask to continue it and see where we can come back? It's not gonna pass. It's not gonna pass. Like the way it is, as it is, two people will approve, two people will oppose it because we don't believe that it fits, that the variance findings could be made. So someone can make a motion now saying we can continue it to the next time, knowing what the preference is, seeing what they can, a redesign could look like. Or we can just pass it.
I'd move to continue it, but the applicant has heard our discussion and see what the applicant comes up with that he thinks would pass. I think a continuance is in order.
So do you want to try to make a motion? Somebody just try to make a motion. Let's just try to make a motion.
Okay, so I move that we continue this to date set by the staff that's available.
So
soon as
continue to
possible.
a date certain, so the
Certain.
16th? It's up to you.
So,
What do we have available?
yeah, that's my problem. It would have to go in June. Because we can't get things done by May 16th. So when's the next one in June? 6.
June 6th or June 20th?
I don't have it here, so we do have a.
I'm sorry. I just feel very strongly that we're not tasked to design to what could be. It's
I agree. I'm trying to
Yeah.
understand the challenges. There's different paths. There's three of us that would vote for a conditional approval on move.
Yeah.
Lowering it 4 feet.
yeah.
That's one path. The other path is to continue.
Yeah, so we're trying, someone just throw out a motion, throw out a motion.
Preference there. I would like to, I don't understand why we can't open to the public to ask, because there's a preference. I don't understand why we can't take in a preference. We're giving two options. We're fine with both options. I think the applicant should be able to decide what option they prefer, because there's paths of either they accept our conditional approval.
Well, we could also just approve it with conditions.
That's what I'm saying. Right. with the
Just,
forfeit
just
reduction.
approve it with a forfeit reduction and let them work out the details.
Or they can appeal it. Yeah, but it's their choice. I mean,
I think they.
we never ask the applicant what their preference is. I mean, I think we should just decide.
I will make a motion to.
Not to muddy the waters here.
He made a
but
motion. Is there a second?
If there's no second, that dies and the next one comes up.
Okay, is there a second? Is
But
there anybody
did we-
seconding it?
Sorry, I just want to be clear. Did we decide on a date? Is it a date
No.
certain or date uncertain?
They,
Because that would affect. the
First, what they're
noticing.
deciding, yeah, so let's see if the motion,
Okay,
and then we can do a date certain. If the motion fails, then we can go on and do the 4 feet and go from there.
okay. So the motion on the table now is a motion to continue to a date certain.
And if there's no second,
Is there a
then that
second?
motion dies.
There is no second, so the motion dies.
Okay, now Board Member Rosner, if he wishes to have another motion, he's welcome to do that at this time.
Approve the plans with a reduction of 4 feet, which is to not be, so
The top of the roof.
the top of the roof can't exceed 24 feet, sorry, 22 feet, 8 inches plus above, what is it, 222.88?
Yep.
plus 26.86 or 66.
He's just saying, he already said that, yeah, so. So is there a second? I second it. Since there is a second, and that you can make the findings and that it's categorically exempt from CEQA.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have a quick roll call vote.
Board Member Malat,
Aye.
Board Member Odericio,
Respectfully, no.
Board Member Rosner.
Aye.
Chair Kim.
Aye, so the motion passes. 3 ayes, none opposed, and 1 abstaining or 1 absent, sorry. And the hearing is over. Thank you.
This is yours, correct? Nobody's.
This is nobody's, and this is the public version,